God's grace. I could go on if I felt there was a purpose. I could reel off a laundry list about the ways I failed my family, from burned dinners to burned bridges. But guilt trips don't come with frequent flyer miles. At some point, a person has to file most regrets under shoulda, coulda, woulda, shut that filing cabinet, and throw away the key. A mother, especially, has to put her foot down and say, no more. Shame is crippling, and in the end, it serves no good purpose. I did do some things well, after all. I kept a clean, sane, orderly household despite all the craziness and uncertainty. And I provided a lot of compassion for my children, a shoulder to cry on when they most needed one. My faith teaches me that you trade in your missteps for salvation. That is bigger than you. God takes our failures and exchanges them for release and rescue. It's called redemption. I know God forgave me a long time ago for my blunders, and He continues to do that every day. What's harder is accepting grace from myself. Instead of beating a dead horse, I have to forgive myself for my shortcomings. My friends tell me one of my finer qualities is that I forgive them easily. I hope that's true. There's nothing noble about holding on to guilt. Remember that. All you mothers reading this book who are blaming yourselves for the things you may have done wrong with your children, the truth is, we could have been perfect mothers and our children may still have gone off the rails at one time or another. At some point, children are going to make their own choices, regardless of the parenting they received. It's much better to dwell on what we did as mothers, to focus on the things that we can say with assurance we do not feel guilty about. It's all my fault? Some of it sure is, but not all of it. No, sir. For what I am to blame for, I bring it to God and my family and ask for their forgiveness. And I try and pardon myself. Let go of guilt and walk in the freedom God provides. There's been a shift in me over the last few years as I have gotten older and hopefully wiser. I'm not so darn worried about things as I used to be. While I do hurt for my loved ones when they make mistakes, I don't blame myself nearly as much as I used to. Somehow I have a growing sense of peace. Like any mother, I'm doing the best I can. I know that's true for my children as well, and I hope that God gives them strength to stand, to strive, and to thrive. Brian. Even when Brian was my little boy, I saw him as the kind of person who would grow up wearing suits to work. He didn't see himself that way at all. At least not until quite recently. He was always so athletic, so immersed in sports of all kinds. From the time he was a tyke, we all thought Brian would end up in sports career. And in fact, he finished 3 years of college to become a football coach. But then a broken engagement and some other difficulties made Brian evaluate his life's direction and thus take a completely different road. He moved to New York, leaving the safe cocoon of all he had ever known. He could have so easily stayed on the road that felt secure and predictable, but instead he faced his fears of the unknown, worked hard and found his way. Two of Brian's strengths are that he works well with people and has a mind for ideas and making them happen. He got into Britney's entertainment business for a while in the marketing end of things. He was the one who worked with Elizabeth Arden to broker the deal for his sister's fragrance, Curious, and he worked on many other similar projects. He has already fulfilled some of my dreams for him. This might embarrass him, but I still see Brian as my little soldier, having to fight for what he wants in this life. He has made some mistakes. Sometimes his cart gets ahead of his horse. But patience is something I believe he will learn as he grows older. And while we're on the topic of potentially embarrassing things, I'd like to bring up that the fact that Brian needs a good woman in his life. Maybe he has already found her. He needs someone stable, with a good head on her shoulders, who will nudge him in the right direction without running the show completely. If you know what I mean, of course, more grandchildren would be an extra bonus too. But seriously, I would love to see my son with someone who would give him a reason for all of his hard work. Today he lives in LA and works in the movie industry on the business and production side. There he is starting to see some of his groundwork pay off. I am proud of his dedication in making his dreams come true, but also I admire that he took a risk years ago, at age 21, with no clear picture of what the end of that new path would bring. When he ventured to that huge city, alone and far from home, he was, in a sense, searching for higher ground, seeking out of a path that would not crumble the way it did when his dreams of marriage and coaching career died. I do wish Brian would return to the faith of his childhood, the faith that has been my rock through this crazy bumpy journey the whole family is on. I believe that Brian could find the truth and peace he is looking for. Anything is possible through Christ our Savior. What's great about Brian is that no matter what road he's taken, he has brought along just about everyone he's ever cared about. He has a fundamental sense of loyalty that has served him well, stabilizing him on his various paths. He keeps in touch with family and friends, and he has never gotten the core unit of people who helped him along the way. Brian loves to play silly practical jokes on his friends, and on the other hand, he is as thoughtful a young man as you will ever meet, sending flowers to Miss Nyla and other old friends when they are sick, and thinking of others so often before himself. This faithfulness to all kinds of old friends and family members has given him a really big world to feel peaceful and safe in. The constancy of those people strengthens him as he continues to make his way.